Hi, I'm Kevin Beck.
And I'm Brooks Flynn.
And we're here today to talk to you about the latest addition to the ThinkPad family, the new ThinkPad Chromebook. So what we've got here, Brooks, is a new 13.3-inch Chromebook built for business.
Exactly, and a lot of people think of Chromebook and they think of education. A lot of people's children are using Chromebooks in schools, and the reason it's grown so dramatically in education is it's simple, it's easy to manage, and it's fast.
But these are all also things that matter to business.
Exactly, and that's what we're thinking about too when we look at the ThinkPad Chromebook. Is businesses want things that are easy to manage and deploy, that are fast and simple to use.
Right, and in the minds of a lot of our customers, fortunately for us, business notebook to them is ThinkPad.
Exactly, so that's why it was just a natural fit. To target a small, medium business or a large enterprise customer looking at a Chromebook, it was just natural to pair the benefits and qualities of ThinkPad with Chrome.
Right, so I know that the first thing that any IT decision maker or indeed any end user, when they start looking at a new piece of technology, one of the first questions they have ultimately is this the right thing for me? So what actually makes Chromebook right for these users?
Yes, well, there are millions of users today currently using Google Apps for work on a different platform than a Chromebook. So for those users, it makes a lot of sense. They're already using Google Apps and online tools for their productivity. And going with a Chromebook just means it's faster, easier to deploy, and easier to manage.
Right.
And so additionally, we have companies that come and they're looking to generate more collaboration in their work environments. And Google Apps for Work is really built on collaboration.
And I know you've had some personal experience with this, you were telling me.
Yes, just the other day, we're rushing to get a presentation ready. My colleague and I are working on the same slide, and I instantly see what he's doing. Up on the top part of the slide, I was filling in the bottom portion of the slide. And I actually was watching what he was doing, and it reminded me, oh yeah, I want to make sure I add a fact about this down here.
Right, and when you look at what the feedback we get on what's really important for people in the modern world as far as business, collaboration is always one of the key things that comes to the top of the top of the list.
Exactly. I think most modern businesses are looking to how their users can collaborate. But they're also looking for ways they can expand their connectivity and the productivity to employees that may not have traditionally had computers.
Right.
So a Chromebook, because it's easy to manage and deploy, it means that maybe my warehouse workers, who I think could really benefit from having access to computers, but it's hard to manage. I have to do security updates. There's physical security to worry about. It's just a hassle to try to outfit them with machines.
Right, and when you're talking about people who are in roles where basically all they need to do is check order status or check inventory on a product, this is a perfect thing for them.
Exactly. In addition, not just your employees, but also your customers.
Right.
If you're going to a more self-service style in your retail environment or space, you may want customers to be able to access and check what your inventory is.
Right.
I don't see something on the shelf, let me look up on the webpage. And Chrome within the management console for business really allows simple management of those types of devices.
Right, and we've seen customers who are using Chrome for things like digital signage. Very simple, very easy to use for that as well.
Exactly. Natively, a Chromebook can support digital signage. So through the management console, you can push content and manage that device. There's no additional software to download. There's no additional way to manage it or push updates. It's all native to the operating system.
Right, so it makes increasing sense for an ever-increasing number of people.
Right, and I don't think anyone's going to argue that expanding PCs to more users, whether they're your employees or your customers, is a bad thing.
Absolutely not.
Right.
But obviously, as with anything new, there are going to be some questions. So let's talk a little bit about some of the common questions that people might have and ultimately how a Chromebook is different.
Right, yeah, and one of the first questions that people have is, how is it different than just the Chrome browser I'm already using on my PC? And obviously the look and interface is the same, but the way the Chrome operating system is combined with the hardware, it's a completely different way of working. And so this Chrome operating system was really built with from the ground up with the hardware. And so it is secure by nature. And what I mean by that is anything stored locally is automatically encrypted. There's no switch you have to turn on. There's no separate software you have to enable to do that. And everything communicating with the cloud is encrypted. So it was built to be secure.
Right, and so what that means for an IT administrator or an end user is there's no extra effort required, no special implementation required to ensure security on this.
Exactly. When out of the box, it's got everything it needs. I don't have to buy something additional to keep it protected.
Right.
In addition to that, from an update standpoint, IT traditionally is going to be managing drivers and updates for all the different components.
As separate pieces.
As separate pieces, and lots of times there's some kind of dashboard created to try to manage all the different pieces working, and is this one need a security update? Does this one function with this one? What level drivers are they? With a Chromebook, all that stuff is managed by Google. There's a single source that's doing all of the troubleshooting and all of the driver updating so that you're getting a single deployment from a single vendor, and it makes managing and deploying that very easy because it's just a unit, it's a person of one.
Right, and yet another strength of having the hardware and the software so closely linked and designed together at the same time.
Exactly, and then the being built with the hardware, the operating system, again, it's a modern OS, it's instant on, it's like your phone. So when I open, I'm not waiting for the screen to come on. I'm not waiting for a hard drive to spin up. It's just there. And
not having to go get a cup of coffee to wait for the thing to boot, right?
Right, it's there and it's ready to work. And so that's something that gets your users, your employees working faster.
Right. So I know that having, as you discussed, a lot of the data and the utility of the Chromebook being in the cloud, that's a concern for some people in terms of how they can use it and where they can use it.
Right, and so people say, can I use a Chromebook if I'm not connected to Wi-Fi? Now, fortunately, we're connected to Wi-Fi almost everywhere, whether it's a coffee shop, or the library, your office, your home. But when you aren't connected to Wi-Fi, you can work offline, right? And the OS naturally will pull the documents that you're using most to your local storage.
Right.
You can force documents to stay on your local storage so that when you're on a plane or you're somewhere where you're not connected, you can make updates to those presentations or those workbooks. And then when you come back and you're connected to Wi-Fi, they're instantly synced again with your drive.
Right, and of course you always have the full utility of any kind of external storage, be it an external hard drive, a memory key, an SD card, the watching videos on the plane scenario.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the one that most people, they're like, well, there's not a whole lot of storage. I know it's enough to do my work, but what about if I'm flying to Asia and I need to watch movies? Well, you can connect any external storage to this, pop an SD card inside, and it becomes part of the PC.
Right.
And you're ready to go with hours of movies to watch.
Yeah, and again, it's probably worth reiterating that that's all controlled by the management console.
Right, and from a security standpoint, the management console does most of the traditional things that people are familiar with in a PC environment, managing security settings, being able to push different applications or plugins to users, managing which users can log in and what their password strength are. So you have those same management capabilities with the management console.
Right. Again, things that just make it that much easier to use and that much easier to implement in a business environment.
Right. So combining the power of that management console with the ease of use of a ThinkPad Chromebook, it means if I were to lose my Chromebook, heaven forbid I lost my ThinkPad Chromebook, it means that I'm not looking to try to restore data that I've lost. I'm not worried about the security of this data because it's encrypted when it's stored on the drive. And I can just go to my IT manager and say, hey, sorry, I lost my Chromebook. Can you give me a new one? And as soon as I log in, it becomes my machine.
Or if you dropped it down the stairs and it got run over by a truck. Right?
Exactly, yes. No matter what happens,
Yeah.
I can log into a new system and it instantly becomes mine.
Right. The fact that all of your data is backed up in the cloud and also locally accessible pretty much isolates you from a lot of what has traditionally been the concerns of redeployment or of replacing lost devices in a business environment.
Well, right, and you mentioned redeployment or transitioning. When companies do transition to new devices, when we come out with great new ThinkPad Chromebooks, it means transitioning to a new device is really easy. Because again, I just log in and now that device becomes mine.
You are you wherever you go.
Exactly.
Right. Now, I know that there are some upcoming changes.
There are. So just recently, Google has announced expanding the Android ecosystem to Chromebooks. So this really opens up a whole new realm for business users, for productivity software, for just general users, right? There's social software as well, but it allows that to sync with your phone and with your Chromebook. So now we're getting the expanded applications in use here. And then again, that's driving the need for additional higher level processors like we've got here, more memory and storage options as well, which we will see on the ThinkPad Chromebooks.
So full interoperability with your phone OS, application commonality, data sharing. I mean, really, when it comes to collaboration and ease of use, there's not much in the market really that can beat that.
Well, right, and there are a lot of great apps on Android today that just having a bigger screen and a keyboard is really going to drive sort of additional use cases of those.
Yeah, totally agreed, totally agreed. All right, so we've talked about a lot of things here today, Brooke. We've talked about why this would be right for some people. In fact, maybe for most people. Talked about some of the questions they may have. So as we begin to wrap this up, why don't you just take us briefly through the specs on the product?
Sure, yeah. So the new ThinkPad Chromebook, it's a 13.3-inch screen. It's available with HD, FHD, or an FHD touchscreen option. Obviously, it's got our ThinkPad keyboard and all the attributes that come with ThinkPad. It's got up to Core i5 processors, so a Celeron, an i3, or an i5. In memory, we've got 4 or 8 gig options. And then for storage, that local storage that stays always encrypted is either 16 gigs or 32 gigs
Excellent, excellent. So I think the one thing that Brooks and I would definitely like to leave you with is that if you haven't had a chance to take a look at a Chromebook before now, it'd be a great time to do so.
Right, and I think the ThinkPad Chromebook is the perfect one to look at, right? It's bringing the best business attributes of ThinkPad, the durability, the quality, the performance, the keyboard.
The serviceability, everything else that comes along with a ThinkPad.
And pairing that with Chromebook, and that just makes a magical pairing.
Right. So if you'd like to learn more, go to www.lenovo.com/Chrome, and you'll get the full skinny on the ThinkPad Chromebook as well as all of our other Chromebook offerings. I'm Kevin Beck.
And I'm Brooks Flynn.
Thank you very much.